Hi there, welcome back. This video is going to be about notifications that you get in your inbox regarding qualifications, whether they're revoked or assigned. My first disclaimer on this topic is that notifications into your email box do not seem to be consistent. I do not know the reason for that. It's either that it's requester driven or that it's just a quirk of MTurk's notification system. So, my advice to you is that if you're expecting a qualification to be assigned for whatever reason, don't rely on the emails. You're going to need to periodically go into your MTurk dashboard and look up the requester and see if they've assigned you the notification because you can access their hit. On the flip side, if you have been working on a requester's work and all of a sudden you can't access it, but you can see it when you filter out of everything that you're qualified for, and you notice that you've lost the qualification, that's not always going to be in your inbox either. So, bottom line is don't rely on it, but you will get them from time to time if you are using the inbox that you signed up with. So there's two types of notifications that you're going to get. There's assignment and revocation. So we'll start with assignment. And assignment is just basically what it says it is. You're being assigned a qualification for something. So it's a boilerplate email, and it will tell you the qualification name, which is driven by the requester name, which you'll be familiar with, and then the qualification value. Now, every requester uses their own value system. So you could get 100 and be able to work something for one requester and have a 1 for another requester and be able to work their work. So there isn't a common scale used. Every requester does it slightly different. Some use just numbers, some use some sort of alphanumeric string. I've seen all sorts of things over time. So kind of the only reason you need to pay attention to the value is sometimes, for example, a requester will say such and such value must be above 80. And so if your value is above 80, you can work on it. If you're assigned a qualification and your value is below the value that they're asking for, you won't be able to work on their work. So getting assigned a notification doesn't always mean you're going to be able to access work. In the same vein, being assigned a qualification may be restricting you from redoing a survey. And if you've listened to some of my old videos and some of my venting about requester videos, you'll find that this is mostly preferred within the community for requesters to use qualifications to prevent retakes rather than either leaving the Turker to be responsible for it or to block. Blocks are very negative, so you don't want blocks. You would rather be assigned a qualification to prevent you from retaking the survey. So being assigned a qualification doesn't automatically mean there's more work available to you. But on the other hand, the negative assignment isn't something bad or detrimental to your account. So that's the assigned side. Let's move on to the revocation side. So revocation in of itself has a negative connotation. A lot of people see revoked and they'll be like, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Yeah, in some cases you might have. If you're working on a batch for a requester and your quality starts to fall below an acceptable level to them, they may revoke your qualification. In which case, as an aside, my recommendation would be to contact that requester and ask them what you were doing wrong, and is there a chance you could go on a limited trial basis to try to see if you can get your quality score back up. A lot of them will do something like that. Some will ignore you, but if it's work that was lucrative to you or that you really enjoyed doing, or it was a good filler or whatever reason, if you really wanted to do it, I suggest taking that chance. So the boilerplate email is the same for the most part. You've got the qualification that was revoked, the requester, the date that was granted, the revocation date, and then the revocation reason. So on the topic of surveys, if you look at the flip side of what I said about being assigned a qualification to prevent you from taking a survey, Often, requesters will then revoke that same qualification that prevented you from taking the survey. In this case, they might just be doing cleanup, or they may be getting ready to launch another survey that you will then qualify for. So there's a chance that a revocation means there's more work potentially coming your way. I've seen this a lot lately with like the COVID surveys, where like every 2 or 3 weeks they want you to talk about what's going on in your life. And so some of them have, once you take the survey, they grant you a qualification that says you took that survey, and then when they're ready to release the second wave of that survey, they revoke the qualification, so then you can take it, take the survey, and on we go. So clearly a revocation has the potential to be good or bad. If you're not sure, you're reading it and you may not be familiar with the requester or whatever, sometimes the revoke reason has some valuable information, sometimes it doesn't. But I will note that if you look at this one right here, it says bulk administration. So bulk administration generally is like a cleanup activity, but it's essentially something done to a whole population of people, whether it be the whole population that took the survey or the whole population that was working on a batch or whatever. So it's not something that was done just on your account alone. And generally, those type of bulk administration isn't going to be hugely negative, right? Because they're not taking like hundreds of people. Their quality didn't all drop at one time for hundreds of people. So the revoke reason will often give you that insight of whether this was something specifically targeted towards your account and your performance, or something that was more of a overall action by the requester. So those are the two major qualification notifications that you will receive. I know there's others out there, but they're not as common as these two. So let me know. Have you gotten anything besides the assigned and revoked? Have you gotten any that you couldn't make heads or tails of? Any that confused you, or something that was kind of in a category that isn't addressed here? I'd love to hear it. And if you need to send something to me, we can arrange that so I could look at it. But I would love to hear from everybody, just to hear if you have any questions on notifications, or if you have any stories or issues you have around notifications. Love to talk about it. And if I need to make another video, I will. But in the meantime, definitely comment, like, subscribe, and I'll be putting out more videos as soon as possible. Thanks, everybody.